Crowbar Gym, Fitness Evolution.
And good morning, everybody. Today what I want to talk about is why some people are just not ready to be healthy. Some people are not ready to be healthy. They are stuck in their old patterns and they have too much difficulty changing their lives, because changing their lives would mean a complete and utter devastation of who they are, who they're surrounded by, what their thought processes are, and it's too much of a cognitive dissonance for them to truly change and become healthy. If they're surrounding themselves with a loving network of friends and family who are all wildly unhealthy, then for them to actually shift into a healthy eating habit, a healthy decision to where they go out to eat with their friends or family, what ingredients they have at Thanksgiving, what ingredients they have at, Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever it is that they celebrate, Festivus. It's really important that those people stay the same, because otherwise they would have so much suffering that the suffering that they would experience from change is worse than the reduction in suffering that they would get by becoming healthy. And that's one of the things that's really important, and part of what I believe people in power or our government or the pharmaceutical companies know as the reason why people are not willing to be different. There's only so many people who are willing to be black sheep, who are willing to be healthier than the norm. And unfortunately, the norm is wildly unhealthy, because 50% of America gets cancer at some point in their lives. Now, that isn't necessarily going to kill them. And oncologists and conventional medicine are getting better at treating a lot of cancers, especially breast and prostate and the most common cancers. But we're getting all these weird types of cancers and all these weird things that are popping up. And the question is why? There's many reasons. It's a cumulative load of toxins and metabolic disease and lifestyle and carcinogens and new chemicals released every year, and pharmaceutical products where like a third to a half of all pharmaceutical products get pulled off the market at some point because of carcinogens, because of toxins, because of contamination. And we wonder why so many people don't have trust in these companies. It's because they're serial criminals that have basically...
We haven't been able to find very much consensus about what that word really means. So I want to share with you some of the stuff that I've learned in the last 60 plus years with many students and colleagues and others on this question concerning what is nutrition and what is the right kind of food to eat in order to get the best possible health. In any case, let me start out with a big idea. It's one that's sort of come to me over the years, but I think it's worth saying. Namely, nutrition, when done right, can create more health than all the pills and procedures combined. I know that's a big, startling idea, but I really mean that. If we do it right, if we eat the right food, we get away from drugs, we can be healthy. So there's a problem, basically. And this is the problem I want to address here. Nutrition is not taught in medical schools. There's not a medical school in the United States that properly teaches nutrition, hardly at all in many of them. Secondly, among the 130 or so medical specialties, which is the sort of the procedure by which physicians are reimbursed for services, of the 130 medical specialties that we now have, not one is called nutrition. So here's a problem. Here are the professionals who are supposed to be offering us their services in the area of health care are not being taught the one subject that is the most important in my view of all. And secondly, even if they didn't know something about it and they got some training, they're not really going to be able to get reimbursed for services. Therein lies some of the problem with the fact that some people, many people in this country, have difficulty understanding what this question is really all about. And of course, as I mentioned, the public is massively confused. That's one of the reasons. And it needs to be solved, because there's so much to offer, actually. It's very difficult to know, quite frankly, and I think you would agree with this, that one of the problems with this issue about confusion, it's very difficult to know for the average person to know whether or not a claim, radio, TV, conversation, or whatever, it's very difficult to know how valid that claim may be. And I'm sure many of you know that claims are all over the map, quite in contrast with each other. So as I look back over the years that I've been involved in this, I've sort of sorted out a couple of ideas that if we stick to these two ideas alone, we'll get to that sort of land that I'm talking about where so much health can be created. First off, eat whole foods. Whole foods. Not the individual nutrients and food fragments within them. And by that I mean I'm talking about nutrient supplements. We've done a lot of research on nutrient supplements. It's a huge industry.